going on, everyone? John Matrix here. Hope you're all having yourselves a wonderful day. We're going to be jumping into the SCP universe here with a video from the Exploring series. We're going to be checking out Exploring the SCP Foundation Prometheus Labs. This has been a requested faction group, whatever you want to call it, for me to look into by numerous people throughout the community. So we're going to check them out today. So yeah, links will be down below in the description to the original video without my commentary and reaction, and to the Exploring series channel. Please do me a favor, if you enjoy this video as we go through it, click on that link and give it a like. And if you are not already subbed to the Exploring series channel and you've been enjoying his content, please do me a favor, click the link to his channel, go over there and give him a sub. Show the man some love. He definitely deserves it. He makes a lot of wonderful content for the SCP universe as well as others. If you'd like to join us when we do these reactions live, there is a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube memberships and tiers that I offer. If you've been around the channel for a while and decide you want to take your support to the next level, feel free to check those out and see if any of that would have any interest for you. But regardless, let's jump into this video. Again, this is going to be Prometheus Labs by the Exploring series.
Prometheus Labs. SCP is generally associated with the horror genre, but over the years it has become...
I do agree with that. A lot of SCPs are horrific, but also, to me, it feels more sci-fi. It feels more sci-fi than just horror. There's definitely like sci-fi horror, but to me, the SCP universe feels more sci-fi-ish than it does horror-ish.
Increasingly involved with science fiction as well. I've talked about a number of anomalous machines throughout this series, from AI to weapons to spaceships. These types of anomalies come from all sorts of sources, of course, many of them unknown, but many of them were manufactured for the specific purpose of being sold. I've already looked at one such anomalous tech company, Anderson Robotics. But this time we'll be looking at Prometheus Labs, a now defunct company responsible for a wide variety of technological anomalies. The ones contained by the Foundation are those generally found in the aftermath of the company shutting down.
Bro, this looks like Subnautica. This is just giving me straight up Subnautica vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like having your little underwater base and having the plants on the walls and whatnot. 100% Subnautica vibes. This is actually kind of making me want to download Subnautica and play it,
as they continue to crop up in locations around the world. As usual, I'll be looking more closely at some SCPs connected to the group rather than the group itself. Prometheus Labs was a private, for-profit conglomerate based on research and development, founded in 1892. The company's name comes from the Greek mythological figure, Prometheus,
right,
and a hiring packet from around 1982 gives a bit more insight into that decision. Prometheus was neither a man nor a god, but instead a titan, the progeny of Gaia, the goddess of the earth, and Uranus, god of the sky. When Zeus later rose up against the Titans, only a handful of them fought alongside the gods, including Prometheus. The packet author says that he won't necessarily say that Prometheus is the reason they won, and Prometheus fought for selfish reasons, humanity. Prometheus is said to have crafted humanity from clay and gave them writing, science, farming, medicine, and math. As part of this, he stole fire from the gods to give to his children, which angered Zeus, resulting in Prometheus being chained to a rock for all eternity
and his liver being
having
daily.
An eagle eat his liver each day. Just as Prometheus stole fire from the gods, Prometheus Labs wrests the secrets from the universe. Just as fire once seemed so mystical and magical and is now trivial, so too can be the way of all unknown things, through study and intuition. Prometheus Labs was certainly successful in discovering some of the secrets of the universe, as through their R&D they released an impressive lineup of anomalous tech. They were also a very public company in regard to non-anomalous tech, releasing high-quality electronic, medical and pharmaceutical, automotive, optical, and industrial goods produced from anomalous research. They had classified contracts with a number of militaries, primarily the United States, and were affiliated with most of the major anomalous groups of interest. They purchased objects from Marshall, Carter, and Dark, developed brain-machine interfaces alongside the Maxwellist branch of the Church of the Broken God, designed low-cost food alternatives for the Mana Charitable Foundation, sold tools and supplies to Are We Cool Yet?, the Global Occult Coalition, and the Chaos Insurgency.
So they seem to, like, work with everyone, every faction. They're almost kind of like Switzerland, right? They're neutral and everything, but will work with anyone, sell them anything, make stuff for them. Fascinating.
Waged industrial espionage against GRU Division P, and engaged in lawsuits with Wondertainment. As for the Foundation, Prometheus Labs was neither antagonistic nor friendly, and they refused the Foundation's offer of helping to design better containment protocols for some of the company's more volatile objects.
Interesting.
Everything was going swimmingly until 1998, when an unknown event caused the entire company to go belly up. Whatever happened was a very public accident, resulting in the Foundation swooping in, covering up the whole thing, and seizing many of the projects that Prometheus Labs were working on.
That would make sense then, right? Because you would think that a company that is so, I want to say, I guess, entrenched with other factions and making things for all these other factions, you would think obviously they would have a lot of wealth and resources and influence, but some event, you know, with an anomaly, it seems to have happened that made them more of a public eye than I guess they probably wanted to, and the SCP Foundation had to swoop in and clean up after them, which then would have had caused them to seize the company. So that would make sense as to why they're no longer functional. I wonder if it's a situation where that is the case, if maybe some of the higher ups of Prometheus Labs maybe have some stuff backed up and they are like, maybe they'll create a new faction and continue where they left off. Something along those lines, you know.
They weren't the only ones, though, as it's believed that many other groups of interest also got their hands on some Prometheus tech after the company shut down.
Probably Chaos Insurgency.
The resultant chaos of the company's rapid shutdown has led to an incomplete picture of everything that Prometheus Labs had developed or was in the process of developing, so things continue to pop up as the years go by. Based on documents, they possessed a number of rather unique facilities, such as one in the Marianas Trench devoted to researching planetary engineering.
Interesting.
A self-sustained facility on Mars devoted to nuclear physics and quantum mechanics, and even a facility constructed in the Jurassic period that researched genetic engineering.
What? They straight up have that kind of technology to where they've got time travel and they went back to the Jurassic period to hide a facility to work on genetic engineering and modification. That's not sus at all. That's not sus at all. Like, are you rewriting the timeline by messing with dinosaurs and shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, that sounds very suspect.
The Foundation also retrieved various proposals from within the company's R&D department for new projects. One was a project to create new biological entities that could be sent to nearby planets in order to terraform the world, and
that just sounds like it could go terribly wrong as well. Let's just, engineer some kind of random new bio life form that is just going to terraform planets. That's all they're going to be used for. Sure, they're not going to be used for any other nefarious purposes other than that. You can trust us.
Possibly spawn humans to populate it if necessary. Another was to develop magical computer programs that could perform exorcisms without human intervention.
What?
And another was to utilize anomalous materials in order to augment the human body, possibly to assist with their Project Samsara, a project that would eventually fall into Foundation hands, where they became a rather unique MTF.
Ah, okay, yeah, the Samsara guys. I gotcha. Weren't they, if I remember correctly, aren't they the ones that are like, don't they have a facility where they're basically just cloned and they're run by one of the O5 Council or whatever? That's like an AI. It was like a mixture of an AI and like a baby's consciousness or something like that. I would think, well, I want to say it was O3 from the Cactus verse. Anyway.
Say Prometheus Labs had its fingers in a lot of pies.
I could be thinking of a different MTF action,
covering a wide breadth of anomalous tech. We're here to look at some SCPs though, so let's start off fairly simple and go from there. SCP-155 is a complex electronic construct found in the basement of Prometheus Labs' primary research facility, consisting of a highly modified supercomputer, a dedicated radioisotope thermoelectric generator, and a device that has yet to be fully reverse engineered. Whenever a program and data is loaded onto the device, it generates a spherical temporal distortion field with a 5-meter radius around it.
Okay.
Within the sphere, time is rapidly accelerated, thus resulting in a hyperbolic increase in the processing power of the device.
Okay, so it creates time dilation sphere, and inside the sphere, time goes more quickly, so it allows the computer to essentially work better. Or at least for us, the computer is able to run longer in the sphere, but for us, you know, only a few moments would have gone by, whereas potentially, you know, years could have gone by in the sphere.
Even though the processing hardware of the construct is dated by modern standards, it continues to increase over a short length of time, with the effective processing power approaching infinity after around 8 minutes.
Okay.
It seems that Prometheus Labs had used this to perform massive calculations that would have taken months, if not years, normally. The drawback of such an incredible device is that the heat and radiation generated by the construct are trapped inside of the sphere while it's operating. This doesn't harm the device much at all, but when the process is finished and the bubble
it's got to go
removed,
somewhere.
a massive amount of energy can be released all at once.
So you would think, right, if they had ways to absorb that energy, then that also could, you know, be utilized to power things. But who knows if they have the technology capable of, you know, harnessing and storing that kind of energy.
Anything longer than 6 minutes will result in the containment chamber needing to be decontaminated before personnel may re-enter. At one point, a flawed program resulting in an infinite loop of code was entered into the device on accident, but the process wasn't able to be stopped for 8 minutes. When it was stopped, an intense wave of heat and radiation was released, melting through the containment chamber, destroying the entire wing of the site, and killing 11 people. The construct only received minor damage from the incident. Speaking of messing with time, SCP-2308 was a line of high-performance consumer automobiles manufactured between 1999 and 2009. And so,
bro, are they gonna say they made like some DeLoreans or whatever? Did they make some like Back to the Future cars that they were just mass producing for people? Is that what's going on here?
From 1998 to 2008. The automobiles were otherwise non-anomalous, aside from being manufactured a year after they were sold, which is pretty anomalous.
Yeah.
The company, Argo Automotives...
How does that work? You sell a car and then a year later you make it? And then throw it back in time? Interesting.
A subsidiary of Prometheus Labs that went independent after Prometheus collapsed, somehow created a time loop in which they were able to manufacture high-quality vehicles and then send them back a year into the past in order to be sold. The vehicles were marketed as being high technology and high performance, which they would have been, being a year ahead of everyone else on the market. The money that was earned from these sales was then used to fund the development and manufacture of the vehicles that were just sold.
Interesting.
This little temporal scheme worked phenomenally well for the company until the global financial crisis of 2008. Not enough people purchased their 2009 model of vehicle, resulting in not enough funds to actually develop and manufacture the 2009 vehicle.
Wow,
In order
Prometheus
to
Labs is
avoid a
responsible for
temporal
the
paradox,
collapse.
however, which was rather conscientious of them, they manufactured the 2009 vehicles anyway, going bankrupt in the process. The timeline was secure, but the company went under, leading the Foundation to actually discover what they had been up to.
Huh. Okay.
The Foundation didn't find any paradoxes either, but they couldn't figure out how they created the temporal loop, as the anomaly responsible was possibly sold to an unknown buyer before the company went under.
Probably Marshall, Carter, and Dark.
Moving away from time anomalies, we have SCP-1290, a pair of prototype devices created by Prometheus as part of their research into long-range teleportation. Each device consists of a platform, 2 meters in
Star Trek
diameter,
shit.
attached to a large electronic unit, powered by a dedicated generator. One of the devices is located in Colombia. The other is on the opposite side of the Earth, in Singapore. When an object is placed on the platform of one device and the unit is activated, the object is instantaneously teleported to the other platform. However, whether by a design or engineering flaw, the object retains both its orientation and velocity relative to the axis of the Earth.
Okay.
This means that when a stationary object teleports, it emerges on the other platform upside down and traveling at approximately 930 meters per second. When the Foundation tested the devices by teleporting a regulation-sized bowling ball, it resulted in 3 casualties and severe damage to the research facility and a neighboring warehouse.
Yeah.
They're hoping to reverse engineer the devices in order to fix the flaw, but so far haven't had much luck. You can see that near beneficial is a recurring theme with Prometheus Labs.
Yeah. It's like they just almost get something right, but there's some kind of inherent flaw in any of their technologies that cause it to just not be practical.
SCP-868 is a meme created by Prometheus Labs as a result of their memory improvement research. It seems that the researchers responsible for creating it were unaware that it was memetic, meaning that it can transfer on its own into someone's mind.
Right.
They believed they had just been working on a new form of therapy. The meme is transferred when someone that is infected with it has a conversation with an uninfected person for longer than 30 minutes. Symptoms of the infection will then begin to manifest after 4 to 9 days. These symptoms typically begin with significantly improved short-term memory, with subjects generally being able to clearly remember events and info for 80% longer than normal. The longer they are infected, the more pronounced the effects become.
Okay.
Roughly 5 weeks after being infected, subjects can begin to remember with near perfect accuracy any event or piece of information received after becoming infected.
So they basically get a photographic memory kind of a situation.
But this effect also extends to a few days prior to becoming infected.
Okay. So essentially about a month after being infected, they start to basically be able to recall any kind of information with basically, like I said, like a photographic memory. But then a few days prior to the infection, they start, they start being able to recall that information as well.
The effect quickly expands from there, however, and soon they can begin to recall everything from since they were born.
Okay.
This obviously sounds incredibly useful for most people to have.
I mean, yeah.
With some exceptions.
Having a memory like that, obviously, well, I mean, you think about it in a lot of different ways. Just for like normal practical use for everyday Joe Schmo, having a good memory like that will just be great. You can just recall things, at will. But the other practical use would be like, for people that have like debilitating mental disorders like Alzheimer's or, other kind of dementia things. Like, what could it do for them? Could it like help cure those? Could it reverse those? you know, or is like the brain damage from those states, would it be too much? You know what I'm saying? Would it not be able to reverse it? Because if it could reverse it, you know, that's pretty big. That would be a pretty big deal, you know?
But the Foundation doesn't really like it too much. The problem is that the infection completely undermines the effectiveness of their amnestics.
So that would be a big side effect. It removes, basically makes you immune to amnestics. So you can't have your brain wiped. That would definitely be a big problem for the SCP Foundation.
They use to make people forget things.
Now, I would assume, would that also include the grade of amnestics? Because I know there's different grades of amnestics, and generally speaking, they like, it's based on how much time they need to erase someone's memory for. That's how potent the amnestic is, essentially. But I know that, what is it, SCP-3000, I think, and Shasha, that's where, like, their primary source of amnestics are derived from. So I would assume that means that even that serpent, the serpent of everything that isn't, if that is indeed what it is, that just literally wants to wipe all knowledge from existence, amnestics even derived from that are not effective on this? Because that'd be pretty crazy then.
Becoming infected means that no amnestic can ever erase their memories from then on. And worse, the memory regaining effect actually nullifies previously applied amnestics, allowing people to remember things that the Foundation made them forget.
Yep.
Since the Foundation hands out amnestics like most companies hand out memos, this is a pretty big problem for them. Residents of a village in Bangladesh suddenly began remembering the existence of an SCP that was recovered from that location 3 years prior. With no way to make them forget, the Foundation was forced to wipe out the entire village under the pretense of a flood. It was later revealed that 2 researchers intentionally released the meme there, possibly to test its effects. Eventually, the Foundation did manage to develop a unique amnestic that was capable of nullifying the effects of the meme. It works in all cases, but some may develop early onset Alzheimer's, and others may develop self-destructive tendencies and antisocial behavior. All in all, the Foundation's happy with that.
I think that sounds familiar. I think this was brought up in another video that we did, but I can't remember what. What they were just talking about there sounds familiar.
Finishing off with something a bit more dangerous, SCP-2820 is a directed energy weapon operated by an AI developed by Prometheus Labs, known as Kalki. The main body of the weapon resembles a multi-stage coil gun mortar, but there's a satellite dish mounted to the front, and the rear has been modified to fit a large, semi-spherical apparatus. The Foundation have yet to find a way to open this apparatus, but there is a monitor and terminal mounted on it that can be used to communicate with the AI. The monitor also shows real-time satellite footage of a random person somewhere in the world, all of whom have been found to be anomalous. This weapon, of course, kills these targets, but the interesting part is how exactly it kills them.
I guess the question also would be is like, why? Are these like anomalous people a threat to Prometheus Labs? Was Prometheus Labs commissioned by another organization to make this weapon to destroy the anomalous? Like, did the GOC hire them to make this thing? Because, yeah, it sounds like it's made specifically to target and destroy people with anomalous capabilities.
At least once every 24 hours, the monitor will display the message, "Firing, clear area," for 30 seconds, before a blue flash of light is emitted from the antenna extending from the satellite. Afterwards, the monitor will show a new target. Within 24 hours of this event, the initial target will invariably be killed by a series of coincidental occurrences, akin to the butterfly effect.
So is it creating a directed energy weapon that is like warping reality in a way That it's like causing like a final destination situation where like these things are going to die, and it makes a series of events happen where these anomalous people die. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know how to word it other than like it's changing the rules of like reality, cause and effect or whatever to make sure that events play out so that these anomalous people die.
Eyewitnesses to said deaths consistently mention the appearance of a chimpanzee in a trench coat.
The fuck?
But video recordings and forensic evidence indicate that this chimpanzee does not actually exist. Instead, it seems to be a perceptual phenomenon resulting from this butterfly effect. Although the weapon anomalously initiates these coincidental events, the events themselves are not actually anomalous, such as ranging from slipping on ice to purchasing cough medicine.
Right, it just makes things happen.
The Foundation has managed to replicate the series of events, but it proved to be tedious, difficult, and resource-intensive.
You would think so, right?
The weapon was recovered from an abandoned Prometheus Labs facility in India, and were given a couple of conversation logs between a user and the AI. The AI introduces itself as Kalki, Precognitive Unit C4SS, son of Brattain, grandson of Bardeen, descendant of Bharadwaja, and the final incarnation of Lord Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu.
It refers to the weapon.
Isn't that supposed to do with Scientology?
As the Vaishnavastra, the celestial weapon by which it shall slay the Sunyavadis. Those are a lot of terms from Hindu mythology, but basically, Vishnu is a principal deity that is said to come down to the earth.
I'm completely wrong then, yeah. I had nothing to do with Scientology. My bad.
In the form of an avatar in order to protect the world from evil and chaos and restore order. Vaishnavastra is said to be Vishnu's most powerful weapon, capable of destroying any target from a distance, and Sunyavadis translates to worshippers of the void. Kalki says that it sees the past, the future, and the present, and is able to direct the flow of the universe.
You would have to, right? Like, the AI would have to be able to calculate for all events and occurrences and how it would be able to manipulate things to get it to perform the outcome that it would want to, right? Which would be pretty insane.
In order to slay evil. The chimpanzee is apparently the whimsy of a being unable to extricate himself from worldly desires. While an agent was tracking down a reality bender in Brazil, he witnessed 2820's effect on the individual, which resulted in the reality bender suffering a traumatic brain injury and falling into a coma. When recounting the incident, the agent says that he followed the anomaly downtown and they ended up going down an alleyway. The wind picked up, causing a trash bag to float through the air, distracting the agent for a moment. The agent was then jumped by an unrelated criminal, demanding his wallet. The trash bag then collided with the criminal, causing him to start firing his gun wildly before the agent disarmed him. One of the bullets hit a building nearby, causing a chunk of brick to fall down and strike the reality bender in the head.
Jesus.
The agent also mentions that when the wind picked up the bag, it almost looked like a circus monkey running away. In another example, in Nicaragua, a minor cult summoned a severely deformed and intellectually disabled Type 5 reality bender. The summoning of this reality bender resulted in a redacted incident, but intervention by SCP-2820 neutralized the threat and prevented a more severe catastrophe.
I think that was brought up in another video again, because that sounds familiar as well. Maybe it was one that we did on rituals. Well, that sounds familiar.
A thorough investigation of the incident was performed, recreating the timeline of events. Some of this has been redacted, but it begins with a man dropping a ballpoint pen on the ground, which the cult leader later slips on, resulting in her being delayed by 2 minutes to catch a bus. Other events include a minor cult member grabbing the wrong rifle, a rock falling out of a coat pocket which breaks a bottle of tequila and averts an XK class scenario, and a levitating trench coat is thrown onto the rifle which inadvertently discharges and shoots the reality bender in the head.
Jesus.
So far, this all seems pretty useful to the Foundation.
You would think, right?
It takes care of dangerous threats that the Foundation might otherwise not be able to handle as efficiently.
I mean, they avoided a K-class scenario using this weapon. So you would think it would have some actual, like, positive benefits for the Foundation.
Unfortunately.
And you would think it would be a weapon that could figure out a way to take care of certain more dangerous anomalies that they might want to get rid of instead of containing, right?
One of the targets it focused on was a Foundation site director.
And you would think that if this AI is able to see, you know, the probabilities of all the various timelines and events or whatever, that they could do like simulated events on, you know, what would happen if they eliminate certain problematic SCPs, how would it affect the timelines and universes and yada yada, you know, would it cause more harm than good, kind of a situation. And they could figure out which ones they could eliminate and couldn't eliminate and yada yada yada. So I would think this would be something that would be extremely, like, almost invaluable to the SCP Foundation if they could get it to work properly.
All attempts to destroy or deactivate the machine to stop the event were unsuccessful. They also detained the site director under suspicion that he was anomalous, but they couldn't find anything unusual about him. The site director was transferred to a level 5 safe house, surrounded by Scranton reality anchors in order to protect him from any anomalous influence. After 2820 fired, though, an unexpected defect in the structure of the anchors caused a feedback loop, resulting in a massive spatial deformation, killing the site director.
Rip.
The Foundation logged back into the terminal to ask the AI about this killing. The AI said that within 10 years, the site director would have become anomalous and wreak havoc upon mankind.
Almost kind of sounds like The Minority Report, right? If you've seen that movie, The Minority Report with Tom Cruise, which is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely worth seeing. But the whole idea behind The Minority Report is that they've created some kind of system based around actual psychics that have precognitive abilities, and they can detect people and the crimes they're going to commit before they actually commit these crimes. And so they are able to mobilize and send out a police force to arrest people and stop crimes before they happen. That's the whole principle of, you know, the movie. It gets, you know, more interesting from there, but very kind of similar idea where this AI is essentially able to see things before they happen and eliminate threats before they become threats. Which then, you know, begs the question of, you know, is it fate? Is it predetermined that these things are going to happen? Are they taking choice away from people? Do people even really have a choice? Could they have made a different choice to, you know, go down a different path where they wouldn't have become anomalous or done the, you know, things that this AI determined they were going to do that made it want to eliminate them? You know what I'm saying? So that then gets into a whole, like, potential other philosophical topic of, you know, are things predetermined? Are things destined and fated to happen? Do we really not have any choice? Is choice an illusion? Or is it in fact not? And we're taking the choice away from people before they're even able to, you know, understand and make a choice to determine what their future and other people's potential futures are, you know?
When asked if it's possible the AI killed him for some other reason, the AI responded that it doesn't enjoy taking lives, but it does so in order to bring humanity into a golden age. Whether or not the Foundation believes that is unclear, but for now they can't figure out a way to stop the machine from continuing to kill anomalous individuals. although they are researching possible methods of destroying it.
Interesting.
Well, a lot of groups of interest in the SCP universe fall pretty clearly into the malicious or outright dangerous camp. Prometheus Labs seem to do mostly all right.
Yeah, they're fairly neutral, it sounds like.
Much like Marshall, Carter, and Dark, they were primarily interested in profit. But while MC and D have very few scruples about what anomalies they deal in and who they give them to, Prometheus Labs had every intention of being a relatively safe and dependable anomalous business. What exactly happened in 1998 that caused the entire company to implode might never be known. And in the end, I think the Foundation is happy that they're gone.
Probably.
As
One less
clearly
thing
the
to deal
company
with.
was involved with some things above their pay grade. Just as Prometheus was punished for overstepping his bounds, it seems that so too was Prometheus Labs.
Well, there we go. Quote. There we go. How mystical and magical must fire have been at one time. How dangerous and unbelievable. Can you imagine if the only source of something, the only thing you could relate to, was a star? How unbelievable it must have been to the ancient Greeks. And now, a trivial thing once deified. Such is the way of all great magics. Such is the way of all great works. Such is the way of all unknown things. With study and intuition, the mystical becomes common. No sacrifices are needed and no blood is given. The doors of the universe are opening to us ever further. Let's step through. So there we go. That was Prometheus Labs by the Exploring series. Links will be down below in the description, as always, to the original video without my commentary and reaction, and to the Exploring series channel. Please do me a favor, if you enjoyed this video as we went through it, go over there and give it a like. And if you enjoy the Exploring series content and are not already subscribed to him, please do me a favor of clicking the link to his channel and hit that sub button over there. Give him some love. Interesting, faction in the SCP universe. They seem pretty neutral in general, and really, yeah, we're just trying to use anomalies in relatively harmless ways to enhance their business and make money. And I guess potentially they seemed like a fairly neutral faction, doing things. They would take contracts to help the GOC. They would help contracts for other factions. The mana, I forget the name of the mana beneficial one, that was pretty much just going out there and trying to help people. But it seems like a situation where a lot of their technologies and things that they were developing were like good, but just like slightly impractical in certain ways. With really the last thing being the most fascinating, the energy weapon that is destroying, anomalous people. Like, again, I feel like it would be an asset that would be of great value to the Foundation if they could learn how to control it properly, but also if they could find a way to run simulations through it so they could find out, okay, here are certain dangerous anomalies, should we eliminate these anomalies? Can we contain them? They could use it to find ways of what MTFs might be the best ones to send after certain anomalies, and what are the most efficient ways to capture them. They could probably learn about certain anomalous people and beings and other things that they aren't necessarily aware of through it. It could calculate other, SCP anomalies that could be used to contain and capture, other anomalies, etc., etc. I feel like you could run all kinds of simulations and give them all kinds of, probable information about, how to better do what they do, with containing anomalies, etc. So, yeah, interesting video and interesting faction. I wonder really what it is that caused them to go belly up. It seems to be something, very redacted. The information isn't known. Is it something that was nefarious that they were getting into? Was it some kind of time issue where maybe they wiped themselves out? You know, is there a group of, you know, people from Prometheus Labs that may still be out there somewhere that have funding, that maybe they eventually in the SCP universe will restart what they were doing under some other kind of name? Or are they in fact still doing some of the things they do, working for other factions behind the scenes in secret? You know, because I mean, like, if they have technology, if they have time technology and they're setting up you know, research stations in the past, in the Jurassic period, you know what I'm saying? Like, then you're also talking about they could still be alive in different, you know, periods of time doing research on things, and, you know, they might not ever be discovered because of that, you know, because they're essentially lost to time. So, but yeah, very interesting video, very interesting faction. So like I said, links will be down below in the description to all the stuff. If you'd like to join us when we do these reactions live, there is a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I offer. You've been around the channel for a while and decided you want to take your support to the next level. Check those out, see if any of that would have any interest for you. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider leaving a like and a sub. It helps me and the channel grow. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys.